Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, for the sake of this, why did every time I saw these videos go on a stupid coughing fit? For the start of this, for this video, I'm going to continue discussing my the James Bond movie series, and in this video, I'm going to be discussing the 1967 film "You Only Live Twice," starring Sean Connery. And of course, this is the last film that Sean Connery is going to do. They decided to quit playing James Bond after this. Even before he did this movie, Connery wanted to quit playing Bond. He played Bond already at that point for the first four movies. Dr. No was 1962, Rush with Love 63, Goldfinger was 64. And of course, 1965 was Thunderball. So after four films, he said he had enough, and he was playing Bond was taking up a lot of his time. He wanted to do other parts. Now he's real famous for playing Bond. Now he wanted to do other parts and move on from. Excuse me, my phone. I mean, I can't do a video without coughing fit or my stupid phone going off. I mean, this is definitely ridiculous already. So Connery wanted to move on from his role as Bond because getting typecast, and he wanted to do other roles, which is natural for any actor. He wanted to quit playing Bond. So, but he had like a 2-picture deal with United Artists and MGM. And they came to an agreement and said, look, why don't we do one more movie, which you're already obligated to do, and then we let you out of your contract. So Connery reluctantly did that, which of course was the film You Only Live Twice. It came out in 1967. Of course, this movie takes place in Japan, and you could tell that Connery looked, bored in this movie. And he says, "Oh, thank God! After this one, I don't have to do them anymore," and all that type of thing. Because the plot of this one, of course, is another plot by Spectre, when they were stealing capsules, space capsules from the United States and the Soviet Union. And what Spectre wanted was the two countries to blame each other for stealing their own capsules and kidnapping the crews of these capsules, and because they wanted the U.S. to blame Russia for taking the American astronauts and the space capsules, and vice versa. Spectre wanted Russia to blame the United States for the taking of their kidnapping their cosmonauts and all that type of thing. So when Spectre was playing one against the other, and hopefully to set them off into a war. And the both sides were blame both the United States and Russians were blaming each other, and the British came in and said, "Look, got a plan for you guys. Why don't you let us investigate? We're independent, from you guys. We're independent in this fight between you two guys, between you two countries. Why don't you let us do an independent investigation, find out what the hell is going on, and then we take it from there." And both sides, both the Russians and the Americans, decide, okay, we agree to that. Do an independent investigation and see what happens. So they sent James Bond to investigate, and the British figured out that there was this other space vehicle who was stealing all the Russians and the American space capsules, or space rockets, okay? And they the British figured out that the ships, or these other space vehicles, was stealing these space missiles was coming from Japan, or the Sea of Japan, that area. But both sides would be, no, we don't buy that. It would be the other side is taking it. So Bond goes down there and to investigate. Because one thing I should mention is in the pre-credits opening, Um, James Bond gets killed. And right in the first 5 minutes of the movie, he gets killed. He's with another girl, and you know, like he usually is, and for some reason, he gets killed in this hotel room in Hong Kong. And then you have the whole thing where you have like this funeral, a fake funeral, burial at sea, and then of course they faked him dying. Pretty much as a plot to so that they could do whatever they wanted to do with Bond, and they faked his death really, even though he was actually he was shot at, but and you see the blood on the bed and everything else, but you figure, geez, they killed him off in the first, the hero of these movies in the first 5 minutes. I know he wanted out, but come on, and they did fool everybody, as a setup. And after when they was introduced, they faked his death. There was no reason, there was no explanation as to why they faked his death. There's no explanation for it, so they kind of dropped that, and of course they went into the plot with Bond going into Japan to investigate this thing, and he goes to one guy who was supposed to be give Bond information. He was giving Bond information, and there's a possibility that Spectre is behind this thing, and he gets killed, and so Bond follows him, and he tracks or follows the killer of the guy who was giving him information, and he finds out that it was in this office building of this big company in Japan, and they don't have enough big companies in Japan, right? And he finds out that the head of this company was actually working for Spectre. Of course, I should also mention in this movie that this was the first time you actually see Blofeld, in his face, because the other two previous films that had Spectre in it, which was of course From Russia with Love and Thunderball, Goldfinger, and actually Goldfinger was an independent film that had nothing to do with Spectre. And it was the only one really of the Connery films that he didn't have Spectre in it, was Goldfinger. But previously, the other two times when you have Blofeld, you just see his hands, stroking a cat. But the hands were of the hands of Anthony Dawson, who played Professor Dent in Dr. No. So the producers brought Anthony Dawson back in From Russia with Love and Thunderball to physically play Blofeld, but you never saw his face, just his hands and maybe his chest a little bit, or his legs, stroking his pet cat in the chair, with him sitting down with like from his waist up to here, and that's it. Maybe his legs, as he was sitting in the chair, and that's it. And with his hands paying the cat. But it wasn't his voice; he was a different voice. So, from You Only Live Twice, you had an actual physical actor playing the part this time. His voice was not disguised. You saw him paying the cat, but his voice was never disguised. And the actor who played the part was Donald Pleasence, who gave a great, he was really great in the role. I think perhaps he was the best one in the role as Blofeld. And of course, 11 years later, he played the most famous role as Dr. Loomis in the Halloween movies. But this was like 11 years before Halloween. And I think Donald Pleasence's version of Blofeld was the one that was copied by Mike Myers in the Austin Powers films. It was Donald Pleasence's version of Blofeld. Anyway, when you see him, he actually introduces himself to Bond. He said, "Aren't you supposed to be dead, Mr. Bond?" And he says, "Well, that is my second life." And of course, Blofeld gives the line of the title of the movie, "Well, you only live twice, Mr. Bond." That type of thing. And it was his, because it was Spectre, and this, I think this was actually the last movie we used the terms Spectre 1, or Spectre number 1, for Blofeld, or Spectre 12 for a woman agent, Spectre agent, a redhead, who was killed by Blofeld's a tank full of piranha fish that ate the woman because she failed to kill Bond. Because she was ordered to kill Bond, not only Blofeld, but the head of this Japanese company. Both of them sent her out to kill Bond, and she failed. So, of course, failure. There's only one punishment for failure in Spectre, and because it's the death of these agents. So I guess maybe because he killed so many agents, Blofeld did, for not killing Bond or stiffing Spectre one way or the other, that they kill him. So of course, one of the main bits in this movie, I have to bring this out, was actually Bond would disguise himself because of course he's supposed to be dead. So he was going in for some Nazi, not Nazi, ninja training in this camp by the head of the Japanese agency for MI6, and he says you have to look. And they are training him with how to karate moves and how to use them, the bamboo sticks. And I know it's not called bamboo sticks; it's something else. And using sticks, or also ninja weapons, the throwing stores and stuff. They're training you in ninja weapons and how to work like a ninja, and how to sneak in like one, and how to get out like one, and how to kill one without even a thought. Like Bond doesn't do that already. And not only do they have to train him to be working as a Japanese ninja, but to look like one. So they actually he had to go into physical surgery to make his eyes look like Japanese eyes instead of British eyes, with the slanted eyes. I don't think that today, in 2018, and if You Only Live Twice was made in 2018 instead of back in 1967, we have a lot of stereotypes in movies in that time. They wouldn't do a subplot like that, trying to make it physically look like Japanese. I don't think they can get away with that today. But 51 years ago, they got away with that stuff. Because a lot of stereotypes like that in not only movies, but also in cartoons, like the Dick Tracy cartoon back in the 60s, has stereotypes like that. With Japanese and Mexicans and stuff like that in that cartoon. But anyway, they make it look like, and he doesn't pass for a Japanese guy. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, there's a strong economy. He's Scottish, and he's trying to make him look like a Scottish actor, which he is, to make it look like Japanese. I mean, come on, he does not look Japanese. I mean, anyone didn't buy it, and I watched the movie, and I didn't buy it. I mean, come on, he still looks like Sean Connery. He doesn't look like Japanese. And he put making his hair look like he's Japanese. I mean, put a wig on. I mean, it was so lame. But of course, the big climax was that they found this volcano off of Japan, one of the islands of Japan. That's where Spectre's hideout. And this is one of the most, or not the most expensive set in the history of James Bond movies up until that time. And they spent, I think it was over $1 million for that set in the volcano, and it was pretty impressive, for its time. And of course, all the ninjas come in and drop down from the ceiling to get killed. And not of them got killed with the big machine guns from Spectre. And it was really a pretty good fight scene. And of course, Blofeld gets away. One thing that I should mention before I finish this video is that Charles Gray plays the guy who gave Bond information in the beginning of the film, or early on in the film. And the irony is that Charles Gray plays Blofeld in Diamonds Are Forever, which is the next Bond movie that Connery did. But I won't get into that in a second. Of course, what happens? Of course, Bond does stop. The Japanese, Spectre, for getting the next American space capsule. He does that by pressing. He gets into the control room and he blows up the Spectre ship. And of course they ended it, and of course they averted World War III, and which Bond usually comes through in the end of the movies anyway. But of course, you see Blofeld getting away. Of course, this was also the first film of a 3-movie story arc. Blofeld was the main villain. You don't have any, and like I said earlier, this is the last one. I think this was really the last movie when you refer to Spectre Agent, Spectre 12, or Spectre 6, or Spectre 3, Spectre 2, because Logo in Thunderball was named Spectre number 2 in Thunderball, and I don't think they ever replaced them with another number. They replaced someone else's number 2. Oh, you're now Spectre number 2 because Logo's dead. On Spectre number 3, Spectre number 12, or Spectre 11. This movie really ends that stuff. And the other end of Spectre Agents, like in Diamonds Are Forever, or Never Say Never Again, because those are really the only other 2 movies where you have Spectre in the film. Because they pretty much ended the Spectre stuff when Roger Moore came in, and when Timothy Dalton came in, and of course when Pierce Brosnan took up the part, they didn't have Spectre with the other Bond actors. But this one was the first time you had Blofeld in a three movie story arc. You had him in this one, and of course you had him in Majesty Secret Service, which is the next movie. And then of course Diamonds Are Forever, you have Blofeld again, played by Charles Gray in Diamonds Are Forever, and he played another different part in this film. Of course, like I said earlier, this was the last Bond film that Sean Connery agreed to do. You can see this was the fifth movie in the series, and he got tired of playing the part, playing for the first 5 movies, and he got tired of it. So United Artists and Salzman and Broccoli, the two producers, decided to let him get out of his contract, and they hired George Lazenby for the next one, which is Majesty Secret Service, which came out in 1969, 2 years later after this film. And of course, when George Lazenby decided to screw himself for being Bond, or wearing pay increase, or do all these other things, he got himself out of doing Diamonds Are Forever. So they brought Sean Connery back to do Diamonds Are Forever. So this was the last movie in a row, or the last of the 5 movies, or 5 original movies that Connery did as James Bond. And of course, this one, you also have the beautiful Japanese women in there, in bikinis, in the movie. And of course, and they were hot. I mean, the women in the movie you always got hot women in Bond films anyway. But of course, the problem that I had was, of course, the scene where I mentioned earlier where Connery was getting plastic surgery to make him look like, so that Bond would look like more Japanese instead of British. All the women in there who were doing the surgery line were all wearing bikinis. Now, I don't mind that stuff, but come on, I mean, they're performing surgery on the guy and they're wearing bikinis. I mean, there's a little bit of a stretch of your imagination there. But as a movie, I didn't think the movie was bad. I mean, this is only like the second time I saw You Only Live Twice. So I saw it once on ABC, and then I saw the whole thing on cable. And the thing was, a bad movie. I think a typical plot for at least for the Sean Connery movies, with defeating a Spectre plot in this film. They're like the second big movie where you have Spectre in the forefront, and after Thunderball, of course. And of course, you had the Thunderball underwater. This is a base inside a volcano, an inactive volcano, which becomes active after Blofeld pushes a button, sets up explosives, and destroys the whole base when Blofeld made his escape. And of course, it was also the first time when the main villain does not get killed. Because, like I said earlier, this was the first of 3 movies where Blofeld was the villain. So at that point, it was a real novelty not to have the main villain being killed by Bond. All the other films, the villain said, on the first 4 films, the villain gets killed. Not in this movie. So, but this movie, that doesn't mean that it's a bad film. And I kind of enjoyed it. It was different. I think it was the only time the whole movie series where you could see him in Japan, or Bond in Japan. and I actually kind of liked it. So that's my review of You Only Live Twice. Please click on the video, please rate it, feel free to comment on it, please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com, it's over WDY, and that's c.com, there's a homepage to Rally Reviewer. Please need more, please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, catch you next time.